pranks seem more popular than ever. Such tricks can be dangerous to their perpetrators and their targets. Halloween pranks are common, and the best ones are legendary. But what happens when the prank doesn't go as planned? What happens when the prank goes horribly wrong? Here are 10 examples of epic Halloween prank fails that left everyone involved with egg on their face. On October 31st, 1885, a Capitol police officer patrolling the dark chambers of the U.S. Capitol building heard eerie groaning from inside Statuary Hall. Cautiously, he entered the circular room. Spotting a ghostly figure, he drew his revolver and fired, his bullets marking the wall in the old house chamber. Fortunately for his partner, who disguised himself as a ghost, the frightened officer's aim was off, and the eerie specter escaped unscathed. But the prank soon became part of the legend surrounding the Capitol. Mad Maimer. On October 31st, 2010, in Arlington Heights, a suburb of Chicago, Cynthia Swanson was hosting a Halloween party for her daughter and the girls' friends. Wearing a mask and brandishing electric hedge clippers, Cynthia waited outside her house for the children to emerge. When they did, she leaped forth, swinging the clippers in their direction. The son of Jeffrey Flowers and Melody Peckerneck reacted by raising his hands to defend himself. The clippers injured the boy's fingers and hands. According to the $350,000 lawsuit filed by the boy's parents against Swanson for negligence, battery, and willful and wanton misconduct, their son's hand and fingers are permanently maimed and deformed. Also, he will probably suffer from chronic distress and disability. The suit alleges that the clippers' power was on and that Swanson didn't prevent the tool from injuring their son. Martian Invasion. Probably the biggest Halloween prank to go awry was Orson Welles' October 30th, 1938 radio broadcast, War of the Worlds, based on H.G. Wells' novel of the same name. In Wells' production, the program began with authentic-sounding news bulletins, announcing the sightings of strange disturbances on Mars. This was followed by reports of disasters at actual locations on Earth, and, finally, accounts of an unstoppable extraterrestrial invasion in which U.S. citizens were being killed by the hundreds and thousands. Although 4 announcements were made during the broadcast indicating that the audience was listening to a dramatization of imaginary events, many listeners had tuned in late and believed the realistic reporting was authentic. At one point, there was 10 seconds of eerie radio silence. Listeners panicked, believing that Earth was doomed in the face of the alien onslaught. Although no one was injured or killed as a result of the program, terrified people prayed, fled in automobiles, and clogged telephone wires with frantic calls. Many people had to be treated for shock. At the end of the broadcast, Wells assured his audience that this show had been nothing more than a prank. If your doorbell rings and there's nobody there, that was no Martian. It's Halloween, he told them. After the broadcast, the public and government reaction showed that many Americans were angry at having been duped by Wells' terrifying prank. Newspapers described listeners' responses as a tidal wave of panic. Wells' terrifying prank may have been ill-advised, but it was one of history's most elaborate, sustained, and, for millions, credible pranks. Dangling from roof trick results in fire department visit. A few years ago, a family in North Carolina decided to hang a dummy from their second-story roof to make it look like a person had slipped while cleaning their gutters and was now holding on for dear life. The dummy was apparently dressed in real jeans, a sweater, and tennis shoes. However, mirth quickly turned to mayhem when a neighbor, who was out walking their dog, spotted the dummy hanging from the roof, freaked out, and immediately called the local fire department. By the time the family that perpetrated the prank realized what had happened, the fire department was set up in front of their house and had a ladder extended all the way to their roof while shouting, "Hang on, help has arrived!" Run over by his lawnmower. In the vein of domestic accident pranks gone wrong, how about this one? Another family decided to use a dummy to stage a horrifying accident involving their ride-on lawnmower. The merry pranksters placed the dummy underneath the lawnmower on their front lawn so that only the arms and legs were visible from underneath the machine. They then covered the arms and legs with red paint to simulate blood so that it appeared to everyone who passed by that the homeowner had been cut up and mangled by his own lawnmower. So good was the staged accident that neighbors who saw it in broad daylight had no idea it was a hoax and promptly dialed 911. The police arrived and, terrified, launched into action, not realizing that the person in distress under the lawnmower was a dummy, until one of the cops attempted CPR. Man keeps armed robber costume. Not all Halloween costumes are ghosts and skeletons. Take, for example, the man from Lansing, Michigan, who went to a neighbor's party dressed as an armed robber, complete with a skull mask, bulletproof vest, and fake M16 assault rifle. The party went great, but after a few drinks, the man, while walking home, decided to stop in at the local Starbucks for a non-fat latte to help him sober up. Unfortunately, the semi-drunk man was still wearing his armed robber costume. Customers screamed. The barista hit the floor, and the cashier raised her hands above her head, but not before triggering the store alarm. The startled man was left explaining himself to police who arrived on the scene. After seeing that the man had money in his wallet to pay for his coffee and that the M16 was fake, police let the Halloween reveler head home, but only after they confiscated his very believable costume. Teen eggs local electricity station. Eggs are one of the oldest and most popular Halloween pranks. Who among us hasn't egged a house at least once in our life? But this tried and true prank took an ominous turn for a 15-year-old Pennsylvania youth in 2006. For some inexplicable reason, the teen in question thought it would be funny to egg the local electric company substation in his town at Halloween. However, the combination of egg splatter and rain that was pouring down at the time caused a massive explosion that practically destroyed the electric substation and knocked out power to 8,000 people in the local community. Fortunately, the boy escaped relatively unscathed. He had to be treated at the local hospital for ringing in his ears. Maybe it was the sound of his brain being fried.